Clay Patton on the Rural Radio Network. Welcome to the Midwest Sheep and Goat Market Report, proudly brought to you by Moline Seed and Fence. Moline Seed and Fence is your local dealer for Riviera custom gates, goat and sheep pens, along with Mountain View sheep and goat equipment. Check out all their products at MolineSeedandFence.com. That's MolineSeedandFence.com. For the week ending February 11th, the Midwest Sheep and Goat Market was mostly steady compared to the prior week. There seemed to be a slight discrepancy between northern and southern sales. Northern sales seemed to hold slightly higher on the light to midweight slaughter lambs and goats. Meanwhile, southern sales softened in a couple instances. This could point to an early drop-off in the ethnic markets. It could also highlight that feed supplies are tight in the southern states and that those buyers are hesitant to buy stock that they're going to have to feed for a while before they turn over. Now, what we'll watch here over the next couple weeks is northern sales. If they start to follow suit and we see a similar drop in midweight slaughter lambs and goats, then that could be a sign that we have, in fact, signaling the end of the ethnic market run here early on in the year, and we'll see if that starts to pull down on the market, likely bringing us into that softer late spring, early summer seasonal, so it could just be an early start compared to what we've seen here over the past 2 years. Now, other data that we're looking at includes USDA sheep and goat inventory report. The USDA details the number of U.S. sheep and goats as of December 31st, 2022. They've done this with other livestock, namely cattle. That's another big one that folks watch the report. And right off the top, it's what everybody expected. The U.S. sheep and goat inventory declined over the last year across the board. Fewer breeding stock, fewer market stock. So that doesn't come as a big surprise, but it's still interesting to look down through the data and see where we lost some of those numbers. According to USDA, there's a little over 5 million head of all sheep and lambs in the U.S., a 1% decline from last year. Breeding sheep inventory at 3.6 million head, down 1% from the 3.7 million the year prior. Ewes 1 year old or older at 2.87 million head, down 1%. Market sheep as of January 1st totaled 1.36 million head. That was unchanged from the prior year. So again, that breeding inventory slipping a little bit on us. The 22 lamb crop was 3.1 million head, down 2%. The 22 lambing rate was 107 lambs per 100 ewes and 1 year and older. So in the state breakdown, though, it's some interesting data. So we know that sheep and goats have become popular on some operations and trying to diversify livestock. So Oklahoma and Kansas saw the largest increase of all sheep inventories. Both Oklahoma and Kansas both saw 9 to 10% growth of all sheep inventories from the year prior. Meanwhile, Tennessee and Minnesota saw the largest increase in lambing crops year over year, with both states seeing a 30+% increase in the number of lambs that they saw from the year prior. For market lambs, lightweight and heavyweight slaughter lambs are the most prevalent in the country, with lambs under 65 pounds, 345,000 head, lambs over 105 pounds accounting for 479,000 head. The goat inventory as of January 1st, 23 totaled 2.5 million head. That was down 2% from 2022. The breeding goat inventory was just over 2.06 million head, down 2% as well. Does 1 year and older were at 1.52 million head. That was down 2%. Market goats and kids totaled 451,000 head, down 1% from the prior year. The kid crop for 2022 totaled 1.58 million head for all goats, down 1%. Meat and other all goats concluded totaled 2 million head as of January 1st, down 1%. Milk goat inventory was 400,000 head, down 2% from the prior year. Angora goats were down 3% at 107,000 head. There isn't much of a way of a state breakdown data when it comes for the goats, but one thing that's interesting, Iowa saw the largest growth in meat goat kids on feed, going from 41,000 head in 2021 to having 46,000 head on feed at the end of 2022. So it still shows that some of the states we traditionally think as beef states or ones that may have some more farmer feeder action, they're catching on to the small ruminants and they're trying to incorporate them into their operation. We'll see as that data progresses over the next couple of years. If you're looking at ethnic holidays, there's your calendar. Ramadan, month of fasting, set for March 22nd through April 20th. Passover is April 5th, Roman Easter April 9th, and Orthodox Easter April 16th. Here's your highlighted quotes on the week. We saw Colby Livestock in Kansas sell 6 head of hair lambs weighing 53 pounds for $275 a hundredweight. That's $146 a head. Colby also sold 5 head of 51-pound slaughter goats for $342 a hundredweight or $174 a head. Centennial Livestock in Colorado sold 128 head of 54-pound slaughter goats for $305 a hundredweight or $165 a head. That upper end of that draft at Centennial bringing $338 a hundredweight. That's $182.50 a head. Centennial also sold 13 15 head of 122-pound slaughter does for a $228 per head average. It's $186 a hundredweight. The upper end bringing $270 a head. That's $221 a hundredweight. Sioux Falls selling 107 head of 145-pound wool slaughter lambs, so a little bit heavy, but good wool slaughter lambs. They brought $136 a hundredweight, single draft of them. That was $197 a head, and the buyer took them all. Sioux Falls also sold 130 head of 94-pound slaughter hair lambs for $190 a hundredweight or $179 a head. Sioux Falls also sold 130 head of 2 to 4-year-old replacement wool ewes weighing 178 pounds. They were exposed to a ram. They sold for $237 a head. The upper end of the ewes brought $250 a head. So the breeding stock catching some popularity, especially with snow on the ground. Guys thinking about the long term, wanting to rebuild some of those herds. Finally, Sioux Falls sold 108 head of medium weight 55-pound slaughter goats for $355 a hundredweight or $195 a head. Producers Livestock in San Angelo, Texas sold 39 head of feeder hair lambs weighing 43 pounds or $300 a hundredweight or $129 a head. Producers also sold 198 head of 126-pound slaughter wool lambs for $135 a hundredweight or $170 a head average. The upper end of the draft bringing $162 a hundredweight or $204 per head. Producers also sold 148 head of 84-pound slaughter lambs for $220 a hundredweight or $185 a head average. The upper end of the draft there bringing $241 a hundredweight or $202 a head. Producers sold 79 head of open 2 to 4-year-old hair ewes weighing 112 pounds for $141 a hundredweight or $158 per head average. Upper end of the draft brought $152 a hundredweight or $170 a head. Producers also sold 143 head of 65-pound slaughter goats for $13 a hundredweight. That's $203 a head. USDA retail meat data for the week ending February 3rd. Usually looking at a week in review on this part of the show, just because USDA doesn't release the data by the time I put it together. But for February 3rd, lamb and veal retail activity index was sharply higher. Lamb feature rates were 1.1% up. Special rate was steady. Lamb and veal cuts both reported sharply higher. For the week, roast ads were sharply higher. Chop ads were 71.7% higher. Lamb features offered more ad space for shoulder round, bone chops, boneless leg, and leg shanker butt. The grain markets this week, they were mixed. USDA released their supply and demand estimates on Wednesday. That actually sent the grain market higher as USDA trimmed South American production forecasts on drought in Argentina. Brazil still looks to outpace the U.S. for the first time as a global corn exporter in the current marketing year. Brazil is currently harvesting soybeans. It is evident that the fresh supply is making its way to the port, with U.S. export sales of soybeans down nearly 38% week to week. South American production data and news will continue to drive the market over the next several months. In March, USDA will release their planting intentions data, and that'll start to bring the market conversation back to the U.S. And Europe, Strategy Grains lowered their 23-24 European corn production estimates down by about 400,000 metric tons and raised their 23-24 soft wheat production estimates in Europe from about 400,000 metric tons as well, just shy of 130 million metric tons overall. Hay markets in Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, South Dakota, Colorado, and Wyoming were reported steady to $10 a ton higher than the prior week. Most states report that winter grazing is done for the year and snow has covered much of the ground. That leaves ranchers to feed everything over until we get back to grass season. And it puts more pressure on what's an already tight hay supply, and it's quickly turning to worrying from quality to quantity, just simply making sure you can get enough brought in. Cattle producers are turning to blending low-quality hay with other feedstuffs and rations. For small ruminant producers, finding quality hay can be fairly tough at this point. The snow and mud are also making it tough for hay producers to get the hay loaded out of the stack yards and sent on down the road as well. Almost all states noted a similar thought that it'll be nip and tuck to get stock carried to summer grass with current supplies of hay in the country. For the most part, it appears that at the stack, good quality alfalfa, no matter the cutting, $250 to $275 a ton delivered. There were quotes as high as $350 a ton last week. Lamb slaughter for the week was 35,000 head through Saturday. That was an increase of 1,000 head from last week and an increase of 5,000 head from the prior year. Year-to-date lamb slaughters 198,000 head or 7.5% above. 14,000 head above the prior year lamb slaughter. Live lamb weights this week were 126 pounds. That was unchanged from last week and a decrease of 6 pounds from last year. Dressed lamb weights were 64 pounds. That's unchanged from last week and a decrease of 3 pounds from last year. Here's your regional price report breakdown, starting here on the hair lambs. 20 to 40 pounders, $250 to $345 a hundredweight. 40 to 70 pound hair lambs, $185 to $310 a hundredweight. 70 pounds and up on the hair lambs, $187.50 to $260 a hundredweight. For the hair hair ewes, $125 to $200 a head. Most of that on the breeding side. The hair rams bringing $105 to $175 a hundredweight. On the wool lambs, 40 to 70 pounders, $175 to $290 a hundredweight. 70 pounds and up, $130 to $260. Stocker wool ewes were $160 to $250 a head. Slaughter wool ewes were $55 to $150 a hundredweight. And on the slaughter wool rams, $65 to $117.50 a hundredweight. Over on the goats, 20 to 40 pound kid goats were $250 to $430 a hundredweight. 40 to 70 pound kid goats, $230 up to $355 a hundredweight. 70 pounds and up, $210 to $300 a hundredweight. And on withers, 70 pounds and up, $200 to $270 a hundredweight. On the slaughter nannies, medium to fleshy, $150 to $290. Picking up with flesh, of course. Replacement quality on the choice quality replacement nannies, $190 to $250 a head. And on the slaughter bucks, $171 to $270 a hundredweight. And that is a look here to your Midwest Sheep and Goat Market Report. Have a great rest of your day or your week when you're listening, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Always learn more at ruralradionetwork.com.